योऽन्तः प्रविश्य वाचं मां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं गुरुं हि स्वयं सत्यः प्रज्ञाभक्तिविनीतयः वीतिश्चापि नित्यं तं गुरुं प्रणमाम्यहं सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। Verse 43. मूढाः केचन शुक्रबीजसहिताः योनिं भजन्ते तनोः स्वीकाराय यथा श्रुतं कृतमनुष्ठाणुत्वमन्ये पुनः सुप्ते देवगणे एष पुरुषः जागर्ति कामान् सृजन् यत्रेदं भुवनं श्रुतं तममृतं शुक्रं बृहद्वेत्तुकः। एकोऽग्निः प्रतिरूपवान् बहिरभूत् लोकं प्रविष्टो यथा रूपं रूपमथानिलश्च भगवान् सर्वान्तरात्मा तथा सूर्यो लोकविलोचनं नयनगैः दोषैर्न लिप्तो यथा सर्वात्मा पुरुषश्च लोकशमलैः एको न लिप्तस्तथा एकोऽयं परमेश्वरः सकलगः सर्वान्तरात्मा वशी स्वात्मानं बहुधा करोति भुवनाकारेण मायावशात् ब्रह्माद्याखिलचेतनेप्सितकरः नित्यस्वबुद्धौ स्थितं ये पश्यन्त्यमुमत्र यान्ति तैमे शान्तिं सुखं नेतरे मन्यन्ते यतयस्तदेतदिति च निर्देश्यमुच्चैः सुखं जानीयां तदहं कथन्विति बुधः कुर्याद्विचारं धिया सूर्येन्द्वग्न्युडुविद्युतोऽत्र न लसन्त्येनं ह्यनुद्योतते भान्तं सर्वमिदं रुचास्य लसति ब्रह्मैतदेशोऽस्म्यहम् मायाबीजभवस्पृहाम्बुकलितः ब्रह्माङ्कुरः प्राणभृत् लिङ्गस्कन्धरस्सुरादिमतनु शाखस्त्रयीपत्रभृत् नैकात्मा विषयप्रवालकलितः यज्ञादिपुष्पः सुखैः दुःखैश्चापि फलैर्युतोऽखिलजगत् जगन्नीडश्च भूताण्डजः नानाशब्दसमागमातितुमुलध्वानश्च कर्मानिलैः Nunnaschanchala esha samsritimahi Jonte hyabhavatmakaha Samyajnanamayasina sukarini Yochchedayetasya tat Moolam brahma Sadeva shukramritam Mithyishamartyah punaha. We had a long gap, and you may recall that these two verses which we read, 47 and 48, they are trying to capture the bhashya of the first mantra of the sixth valli of the Kathopanishad. That's where we are. So here we have spent enough time in trying to elaborate on this, which has been presented in a slightly modified form in the Bhagavad Gita also, 5th chapter, Urdhamoolam adhashakam ashwatham prahuravayam chandamsi yasya parnani yastam veda saveda vitu. So the moola for the verse in Bhagavad Gita happens to be this mantra in the Kathopanishad. That is what we saw. Then we also touched upon the commentary of Bhagavad Pada, and today I decided not to get into that because that is once again going to elaborate. Some 2 more classes will happen, so I will just try to go along with what this Rāmarāya has done. Okay. Rāmarāya has captured certain phrases of Bhagavad Pada also, so we will see that. We basically saw in detail the first half of verse 47 in the previous classes. Maya bija bhavaspraham bukalitaha. One may wonder why these two verses have been put together. These two verses have been put together because they cover the same theme, number 1. Number 2, most of the words that we find here are only in the form of adjectives, visheshanas. Visheshana to which shabda? See, that appears in verse 48. So verse 47 essentially lists some visheshanas. And again verse 48 commences with some visheshana. And the visheshya shabda is here. See, if you look at verse 48, second quarter, we have samsriti mahijaha. That is the visheshya. Samsriti mahijaha. Samsritihi is same as samsara. Mahijaha is like sarasija. See. So mahyaha jataha. Mahi means prithvi. So that which is coming from prithvi. So this is a phrase which is commonly used to refer to vriksha. Okay. Mahijaha. And that Mahijaha is qualified by the word samsriti. Samsriti Mahijaha, Samsara Vrikshaha. That is the Visheshya here. All other things are basically Visheshana. Now, let us see, very quickly recapture. See, we will see Maya Bija Bhavaha, Sprhambu Kalitaha, Brahmankuraha, Pranabhirlingas Kandhadharaha, Suradimakanu Shakhaha, Trayi Patra Bhrit. So all these words basically refer to the samsara vriksha. So in the previous class, there was a question which is left unanswered. So towards the end of the class, see, so one of the keen participants, see, so was asking this question, how do we understand the word trayi? So I am just going to explain it a little bit before we proceed further. Trayi patra bhrit is the phrase that we find. This is describing the samsara vriksha, ashwatha. Right? So trayi patra bhrit. So trayi, see, chandam siyasya parnani. We have in Bhagavad Gita, almost identical to this. So here what do we have? Urdhamoolam adhashakam. Oh, that is Bhagavad Gita, right? Urdhamoolo adhashakaha ash. What is the mantra here?
It's not adaha. It is
Urdhamoolam adhashakam ashwatham prahuravayam
It's 15th chapter.
Oh, that is 15th chapter. Urdhamulo avakshakaha. See, urdhamulo avakshakaha. Yesho shvattha sanatanaha. Tadeva shukran tad brahma. Tadeva amrita muchyate. Tasmin lokashruta sarve tadunaptyeti kaschana. This is the mantra, right? Now, urdhamulaha avakshakaha. Ashwatham prahuravayam. Urdhamulo vakshakha yesho ashwatha sanatana. Okay, so here he doesn't explain that. Okay. So in the mantra itself, we don't have Chandamsi Parnali, right? So this comes in Bhagavad Pada's commentary. Now here, Rāmarāyaka says, Traipatra Bhrit. Let me spend 5 minutes on this. See, Trayi. How do we get the word Trayi? So, 3 plus some suffix, that is very clear. Okay. So, Trayaha Avayavaha Yasya. This will be the Vigraha. Laukika Vigraha will be Trayaha Avayavaha Yasya. So, this will become Trayi. And for us to have a better understanding of how this has been formed, see, it may be good to recount a couple of sutras. Then I will come to why it refers to Veda and how it refers to Veda. We will come to that in a minute. But before that, the formation of the word itself will be quite instructive. So we have a sutra which has been given by Panini to explain this form Traya itself. So that sutra is Dvitribhyam Tayasya Ayajva. This is the sutra. Dvitribhyam Tayasya Ayajva. You should not understand Yajva. Yajva means one who performs yaga. Ayachva. This is how you have to understand. Dvitribhyam. Repeat. Dvitribhyam. Dvitribhyam. Tayasya Yajva. Yajva. Tayasya Yajva. What does this mean? Ayachva is the Padacheda. So Tayasya means there is a Pratyaya Taya. So this Tayas will have the Adesha with Ayach. This is what the sutra says. If the word preceded is Dvi and Tri. Dvitribhyam Tayasya Ayajva. This is 5 to 43. This is the sutra. Okay. So Dvitri Ityetabhyam Shabdabhyam. See, there is a Tayach. So this Tayap Pratyaya is given by some other sutra. So this Tayap is replaced by I. So this is what this says. So Tayap Pratyaya. So Vikalpena this can be replaced with Ayach. So if this is not replaced, then what will be the form? Tritaya, Dvitaya. Okay. So Tritaya, Dvitaya, etc. But Traya form is more common than Tritaya form. Why? Because even this famous verse we say at the beginning of Vyakarana Patha, Munitrayam Namaskritya Tadukti Paribhavyache Vyakarana Siddhanta Kaumudiyam Vyatachyate. This is a commonly rendered verse. So Munitrayam. So when is this used? So this we have to understand. So when something is intended to be referred by as a group. Okay, when something is intended to be referred as a group having some specific number, then this tayap will come. Okay, Panchataya, Dashataya. So we have these forms, but not very commonly used. So this is how the word gets formed. In fact, the sutra is the previous sutra. See, whenever we have this va, it means something will be preceding. What is the preceding sutra? Sankhyayaha avayave tayap. Repeat.
Sankhyayaha
Avayave tayap. Sankhyayaha avayave tayap. Okay. So when you want to refer to a particular sankhya forming a part of a group, see, tadasya. So when you want to refer to, see, this sankhya is associated with this group. When you want to use, you use the suffix tayap. Okay. So this is what the sutra essentially says. Sankhyayaha avayave tayap. So if tayap is added, you will get tritaya. That is how we have the word chatushtaya. Okay, dvitaya, tritaya, chatushtaya, panchataya, shattaya. So all of them will be there. Now this can be replaced with ayach if dvi or three is there. So if that happens, then what happens is you get the form traya. Tri aya traya. Dvi aya dvaya. Now we have a suffix neep added to that. Okay. So then we have the form trayi. This is how we get the word trayi. So now there has to be a clear understanding that we want to refer to some entity with a certain number associated with that. Then we have the word trayi. Now, do we refer to only 3 Vedas by this? If so, why would other Vedas be left out? Is the question. Okay. So that is what was asked. So I told in the last class that I will explain this. How do we understand the word trayi? In fact, since we have a keen student, young student, I should also say why this neep comes. See, there is a very interesting sutra. It is not so easy to pronounce, but it is worth learning for at least amusement. I will say the sutra, you repeat. Tidhanai. 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 Dvayasach daghnach matrach. Dvayasach daghnach matrach. Dvayasach daghnach matrach. Dvayasach daghnach matrach. Dvayasai daghnach matrach. We will separate. Okay. Then tayap thak thai. Tayap thak thai. Tayap thak thai. Kain kwarapaha. Kain kwarapaha. Kain kwarapaha. Tidhanai dvayasach daghnach matrach. Tidhanai dvayasach daghnach matrach. Repeat. Tidhanai. Dhanai. Tidhanai dvayasach daghnach matrach. Tayap thak thai kain kwarapaha. Tayap thak thai kain kwarapaha. Okay. So this is the sutra. This basically tells you that when these suffixes are there, so one of them, as you can say, is tayap. Understand? So one of them is tayap. So this tayap, dvitaya, tritaya, I was saying. So when you want to, so neep pratyayan kritva. So you have the word used, trayi. Okay, anyway, so this is some interesting thing. So then this will become like a nadi shabda. Trayi, trayau, trayaha, nadi, nadyau, nadyaha, something like that you will have. Okay? So this is the formation of the word trayi. Now, why do we refer to the corpus of Veda by the word Trai is the question. Okay. So if we just say that this corpus of body which is generally referred to as Rig Veda and that one which is referred to as Yajur Veda and that one as Sama Veda alone, then we may have to leave the other things. So that is not something which is acceptable. So therefore the meaning is understood. In fact, there is a discussion even in Mimamsa Shastra. In the Mimamsa, so there are 3 sutras. So I will tell the sutras, you can repeat. Tesham Rik, Tesham Rik, Yatra Arthavashena Padau Vyavastha, Yatra Arthavashena Padau Vyavastha, Yatra Arthavashena Padau Vyavastha, Gitishu Samakhya, Samakhya, Gitishu Samakhya, Sheshe Yajushabdaha, Sheshe Yajushabdaha. This occurs in the second adhyaya. So now let us just repeat this sutra once more. Tesham Brigyatrarthavashena Padau Vyavastha, Tesham Brigyatra Arthavashena Padau Vyavastha, Tesham Brigyatrarthavashena Padau Vyavastha, Gitishu Samakhya, Gitishu Samakhya, Sheshe Yajushabdaha, Sheshe Yajushabdaha. So what is to be understood is, so there is a long discussion, so I will not get into that, but the essence here is Gitishu Samakhya, Sama iti Akhya Tatra Yatra Gitihi Bhavati. So the mantras, all of them are mantras. Okay. Ahe buddhniya mantram me gopaya yamrishayastri vida viduhu richas saman yajogumshi sahi shri ramata satam. We have this in Yajur Veda. Now the point is, wherever we find the construction to be limited by certain number of syllables, you call it as Rik. Yatra Vyavastha Vartate, Padav Vyavastha, Sa Rik. In fact, the most commonly heard mantra is Sri Rudra. Okay. So there, Namaste Rudramanyava Utota Ishave Namaha, Namaste Astu Dhanvane Bahubhyam Utate Namaha. This is first mantra. So here the reason for quoting this is Rik Yatra Arthavashena Padav Vyavastha. So this is how the sutra goes. So if you look at the first mantra, so this Namaste Rudramanyava Utota Ishave Namaha, Namaste Astu Dhanvane Bahubhyam Utate Namaha. The meaning is complete. So this is in Anushtup. So this is Atra Padav Vyavastha Vartate. Similarly, you will find the next Rik also. So it is a Rig mantra. Now, Yatra Niyatakshara Sankhya Padav Vyavastha Bhavati Sa Rik. So Akshara Sankhya Yatra Niyata Sa Rik. In fact, the entire Rig Veda, you will find some of these, most of the mantras fall under these 7 categories, almost. So this you see, there may be some slight variation here and there. I mean, that is something which is taken as exceptional cases. But you see, Gayatri, Ushni, Ganushtub, Brahati, Panti, Trushtub, Jagati. These are the 7 kind of chandas that are employed. So Gayatri starts with 6 per quarter. So Jagati ends with 12. So these are the 7 things that we find in the Vedic corpus. In the later corpus, so So we have developed in Sanskrit literature, I am just saying. So we have several other Chandobadha. But in the Veda, you find only this. So the point here is, so Rigveda, that corpus is called Rigveda because it is filled with Niyatakshara Sankhya Vak. Okay. So there is a Niyata, Akshara Sankhya is Niyata in all the mantras that we find there. So therefore it is called as Rigveda. So Rig Pradhanatvat. Then when you look at Sama, here it says Geetishu Samakhya. So it is basically sung, and therefore that particular corpus we call it as Samaveda. Okay. But what one needs to understand is the same mantra is sung here. And when it comes to Yajuhu, so here Sheshe Yajush Shabdaha. Sheshe here refers to, it is neither sung nor it is bound by the number of syllables. Okay, we have the word Yajuhu. So in Yajurveda, somewhere you may find ring, somewhere you may find Aniyata. Okay, so basically Mitatvam, Akshara Sankhya Niyatatvam, Akshara Sankhya Aniyatatvam, and Gana Rupena Shruyamanatvam. These are the basic forms. And these basic forms form a group. So, and therefore we use the word Traihi. If you take Atharva Veda, most of them are only in the form of Rik. It may be sung differently. So you can take Jaiminiya, you can take Ranayaniya, you can take any other thing. Okay? So all of them form under one of these categories. The mantras which are found there, okay, will fall under one of these categories, and therefore the entire Veda can be referred by the word Traihi. It is not trying to eliminate Atharva. It is basically trying to describe the forms of mantras which are found in these Vedas. So that is what one needs to understand. That is how we have the word Traihi employed. So the understanding is Mitaksharatvam, Amitaksharatvam. So sometimes there may be Mita, sometimes there may be. So primarily Amita. In fact, there are further interesting divisions. Okay? So something will be called as Katha, something will be called as Kumbhya. So there are certain other things. These are some interesting things which I will not get into. As far as the explanation for Traihi is concerned, so it is 3 varieties of mantras that are found in this. So that is all we have to. Even if we take Yajurveda, Rigveda, initially Rudra will start. Vishayatva, Orjayatva, Vayavastho, Vayavastadeva, Savita. There is all Yajuhu. There is nothing like Baddhatva. So the number of syllables, it is all just goes. Okay, so that is how we need to understand the word Traihi. Traihi Patra Bhrit. Now let us come to the third quarter of verse 47. So further description. Naikatma Vishaya Pravala Kalitaha. This is all description of that samsara vriksha, as I told you. See, here he uses this word Mahijaha. Samsriti Mahijaha. This Samsriti Mahijaha is Naikatma. Naikatma means it doesn't have any limited form. It has multiple forms. It presents itself in multivarious forms. That is what is meant by Naikatma Vishaya Pravala Kalitaha. So this is a description of Vriksha, we remember. Okay. So Vishaya Pravala has slightly different meanings in different contexts. Here one has to understand it as the budding leaves. Okay. So the budding leaves, stems and so on, they can be called as Pravala. Kalitaha is associated with, as I told you. Okay. Naika Vishaya Prabala Kalitaha. Then he says Yajnadi Pushpaha. So the samsara vriksha is filled with pushpa. So what are the pushpas? Yajnadi Pushpaha. So we always feel happy when pushpa comes, right? So similarly, if this world, this samsara vriksha, so there are lots of yajnas if they are happening, then one will be really feeling happy. But that is what is not happening. Okay. So yajnadi pushpaha. Then he says, Sukhair dukhaischapi phalair yutaha. So this is also an interesting thing. You see, in the Kalpana, so yajnadi pushpaha. So depending upon the kind of yajna that you perform, okay, so there are different kinds of yajnas are there. So depending on what you perform, so the fruit will come. Okay. Sukhaihi dukhaischa piphalaihi yutaha akhila jagan nidascha bhutandajaha. So you think of a huge tree. Right? In that tree, he says, people just keep resting in various places. As in the normal tree, you will find various nests. So here, bhutandajaha. See, andajaha is the birds. Andat jayate iti andajaha. Mahyaha jayate iti mahijaha. So, akhila jagan nidaha is the description. There are various words which we can think of. They can be conceived as nests. See, in those different places which are there. So they are all operating various things. Akhila jagan nidascha bhutandajaha. Further he says, Nana, this is a long compound. Nana shabda samagamati tumulat dhvanascha. Nana shabda samagamati tumulat dhvanaha. So this vriksha means, so there will be a lot of noise which will be generated. If there are birds, they will create noise. So here he is saying, so there is a beautiful description. That phrase has been simply borrowed from Bhagavad Pada's commentary by Ramarāyakavi. When we read the commentary, we will see the description of it. But simply put, Nana Shabda Samaga. See, there are varieties of sounds that are being produced by various things. So if something moves, it produces some sound, right? So even if the gas burner, so recently I was seeing. So small, if you just keep it in sim, you will not see. If there is a huge burner, so various kinds of noise are being produced. Nana Shabda Samagamati Tumuladhvanascha. Human noises, other noises, created by birds, created by other things, created by various vehicles, aeroplanes. So Nana Shabda Samagamati Tumuladhvanascha. Then he says, Tumula. See, tumula is tumultuous, okay, variety mixed with various things. Karma nilaihi nunnaha. Karma nilaihi nunnaha. Anila is Vayu. Anala is Agni. Anila is Vayu. See, Karma nilaihi nunnaha. So already there is some noise, and this karma in the form of Vayu, it just pushes and creates more things. Nunnaha. And he says, Chanchalayesha samsriti mahijaha. So whenever there is a boy, there is always a chanchalya, Vayu. Okay. So it can create, it can destroy. You can think of, see, the nests can fall, various things will happen. One will collapse each other. So all that is being conveyed by karma. Why should this happen means, according to karma it happens. Understand? See, gahana karmano gati. So that is what we understand. So karma nilaihi nunnaha. Even if you just think of the kind of description that we find about this cosmology, So suddenly something will get absorbed into something. That is what is happening continuously. It is happening in the universe. Okay? Something will get sucked into something. Something will keep moving around something. So all of them. Karma nilaihi nunnaha chanchalayesha samsriti mahijaha. But then he says, this manifest form that you see for this vriksha, ante hyabhavatmakaha. So it will just get subsumed into some form which is not seen by you. This is what is meant by abhavatmakaha. So both physically as well as for the human beings. We talk of moksha, right? So this samsara which is experienced by me, this will also come to end. And the physical thing that we find will also come to end at some point. Then once again it may spring up. So this is just the karma. Abhavatmakaha. How does it come to end for me? What happens to the universe? Let us leave. He says, Sammyajnanamayasina sukarani yochhedaha. So Sammyajnanamayasina. So this samsara vriksha that is being experienced by me has to be severed. By what? Sammyajnanamayasina. So here we find a beautiful rupaka. Sammyajnanam eva sihi. Sammyajnanamaya. Sammyajnanam here refers to Atma Tattva Jnana. Sammyajnanamayasina sukaraniya uchhedaha. It can be severed by that. Yetasya. So for this samsara vriksha, tanmoolam brahma sadeva shukram amritam. So moolam for this. So the moment you think of something which is there in the form of a vriksha, you can imagine that there is going to be some moola upon which it stands. Okay? So similarly, so for the samsara vriksha, what is the moola? Moolam Brahma. And that moolam is something which is nitya. Therefore he says, Sadeva. Sat here means Trikala Badhyam. Moolam Brahma Sadeva Shukram Amritam. Shukram means Shuddham, Shubhram. Amritam. Mithyaihi Shamartyah Punaha. On the other hand, so Mithyaihi Shamartyah. Yesha Martyaha Mithya. Mithya means he has just some form for temporarily, that's all, finished. Mithyaihi Shamartyah Punaha. So now let us quickly go through the commentary given by Rāmarāya. I think we came up to 4th line. See, Trayi Patra Bhrit, right? Up to that we read in the previous class. Trayi Patra Bhrit. So here, Trayi Vigyajussamaveda Trayam. See, you have to just put. So this is sometimes, see, what one has to understand is the word Trayi, as I explained to you, has the potential to incorporate the entire Vedic corpus. So we look at this particular way. On the other hand, one also finds, if one looks at some of these yaga prayoga, so in my understanding we have only 3 kinds of ritviks. So who make use of 3 kinds of things. Okay, tat pradhanatvat. We have hota, we have adharyu, we have udgata. So these 3 people and then 3 kinds of things. And that is how one can think of, okay, this group. So primarily made of that. That is how one has to understand. Then here what you have to do is, I think there is some problem. We should just split this. Okay. So this padacheda. So there you can put a break. Ganda. Trayi Vigyajussamaveda Trayam Upalakshanamidam Smrityadinam. So here Upalakshanamidam Smrityadinam. So smrityadinam upalakshanam. See, this is a very important thing. Why? Because even as an imagination, if you think of, it is something which is beautiful to appreciate. What did he say? Trayi patra bhratu, right? As far as the sustenance of this vriksha is concerned, this happens primarily through patra. Patra. So today we use this word. So what is called this photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the word. What is this photosynthesis? So this is, so if you were to use some kind of samasa, the synthesis with photons is photosynthesis. Okay, photons is essentially some light. So there is an interaction which is happening between, okay, the light, air, and various other things. Okay, a synthesis that is being done inside the leaves. Okay, so this Veda actually makes this samsara vriksha also sustain. It is in that sense I am saying Trayi Patra Bhutu, that place. Not only Veda, all the Smritis. That is why Rāmarāyakavi is saying Upalakshanamidam Smrityadinam. Okay. So all this literature that we have, okay. So here, okay, since I said this, so this photosynthesis, if you see, the leaves play a very, very crucial role. See, this is the nature. If you see, there is the green part, we call it as chlorophyll. No? Suddenly it will change in color when in New York, etc. So, what happens? That chemical called chlorophyll will slowly withdraw. So then various things will happen, the various colors will happen. And why does that happen? Because they don't get water. So there is a process, the synthesis cannot happen. Therefore, anyway, so these are all some beauty that we find in nature. So that is what he is trying to say. See, Naikatma, the next phrase. So the same thing presents itself in multivarious forms. Okay. Upalakshanamidam smrityadinam. There also you can put a danda. See, tadrupa patra bhrit. That is what is being said. Then Naikatma aneka vidhaha. Aneka vidhaha. I am samsara vrikshaha. Vishaya pravala kalitaha. What is pravala here? Vishayas. New things are coming. Vishaya pravala kalitaha. See, new things are coming. You can think of. See, it's initially some button mobile. Then some other thing. See, these are all various Vishayas. Okay, they just keep sprouting. Vishaya pravala kalitaha. So he says, Shabdadi Vishaya Rupa Kisalaya Yuktaha. Shabdadi Vishaya Rupa Kisalaya Yuktaha. The various instruments are being made by us. They generate various kinds of noise. Various kinds of instruments to see various things. Vishaya Prava Shabdadi Rupa Vishaya. Shabdadi Rupa Vishaya. Shabdadi Vishaya Rupa Kisalaya Yuktaha. Then Yajnadi Pushpaha. Yajnadi Kriya Eva Pushpani. Yajnadi Kriya Eva Pushpani. So after that Pushpa comes. Pushpani yasya saha tathoktaha sukha dukkhaischaiva phalair yutaha. So here there is a typo, serious typo here. So sukha dukkha cannot be there. What you have to understand is that duha, that visarga should go inside. Then they should join that. Okay. Sukha dukkha janaka should be the form. Okay, there is a serious printing mistake. Sukha dukkha janaka vishaya bahutvat. Sukha dukkha bahutvam. Understand? So Sukha Dukkha Bahutvam. So why? Sukha Dukkha Janaka Vishaya Bahutvat. The sources which generate Sukha and Dukkha are multivarious, and therefore Sukha Dukkha Bahutvam. Sukha Dukkha Janaka Vishaya Bahutvad Sukha Dukkha Bahutvam Akhila Jagan Nidaha. Next adjective is Akhilani. Here he is just listing Chaturdasha Bhuvana. Chaturdashe Tirthaha Jaganti Bhuvananyeva Nidani. Jaganti. Jagat Jagati Jaganti. Okay, Shabda. Jagat Jagati Jaganti. This will look like Kriyapada. Pathanti Medidu. Chaturdashe Tirthaha Jaganti Bhuvananyeva Nidani Yasmin Saha Tathoktaha. Then Bhutandajaha Bhutani Brahmadistambanta Praninaha Eva. So Brahmadistambanta Praninaha Eva. Bhutandajaha. Andajaha, he is explaining. Pakshinaha Yasmin Saha Tathoktaha. This is how we can imagine this samsara vriksha to be. Then we move on to the next verse. This completes 47. Nana Shabda Samagamati Timulaha Tumuladhvanaha. So here is where we find the phrase which has been lifted from Bhagavad Gita's commentary. You see, there is a very beautiful phrase. Prani Sukha Dukkho Bhuta Harsha Shokajada Nritya Gita Vaditra Kshvelita Sphodita Hasita Rudita Haha Muncha Munche Ityadi. It's a very long compound. Prani Sukha Dukkho Bhuta Harsha Shokajada Nritya Gita Vaditra Kshvelita Sphodita Hasita Rudita. It is a nice Kadambari like Padya. So he says, Nana Shabda Samagata Samagamati Tumula. Dhvanaha is basically which has this sound. How does this sound get produced? A variety of sounds get produced. So why is this variety? Acharya says, Prani Sukha Dukkho Bhuta. It is essentially because of that. Understand? So even if you want to share your dukkha, so you will cry. If you want to share your sukha, you will laugh. So each of them will produce some kind of a sound from you, right? And if a lot of people gather together, see, it can be some bhajana, so various things that can people do. So then that is a different kind of a thing which is being produced. See? Prani Sukha Dukkha Buddhuta Harsha Shoka Jata. So sometimes the assembly creates harsha, sometimes the assembly creates dukkha. The dukkha creates an assembly, sukha creates an assembly. Various kinds of things do happen. Harsha Shoka Jata. Then he says, Nritya Gita Vaditra. Vaditra means basically Vadyam. Okay? So this is some special sutra is there. So Nritya, so people dance. Gita, Vaditra. Then Kshvelita Asphodita. Basically these three things, if you just see, sometimes this music, if you even see, if you go to ISKCON, so they will do Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Sometimes the pitch will vary, okay, the speed will vary. Then people will start dancing, right? So that happened. So this Kshvelita basically means playing. Asphodita, it's a nice place in Ramayana. Asphodayamasa chuchumba pucham nananda chikrida jagau jagama. I think there is a verse in Ramayana describing the act of Hanuman. Asphodayamasa chuchumba pucham. See, he just hit his tail and then took his tail and then bited. Chuchumba pucham nananda chikrida jagau jagama. Something is there. There is a verse like that. Anyway, so Akshvedita means played. So there are various kinds of plays that are going on. Asphodita, one can think of clapping, hitting, and so on. So all these are Asphodita. Then Hasita, Rudita. This Hasita, see, these the things that were there before, they will primarily depict an incident where Harsha is predominant. Then Shoka, what will happen? Ha ha, Rudite, ha ha, Muncha Munche, Tyadi Aneka Shabda Samagama Krita. Okay? So ha ha, Muncha Muncha. So this is what will happen. Muncha Munche, Tyadi Aneka Shabda Samagama Krita. In fact, I distinctly remember. So this Muncha Muncha, in fact I had to say, when was it? It is almost from 16, 17 years ago. So when I joined this IIT, so once the director himself met me on the way, so why don't you come for this program? So that was, there is something called Mood Indigo. I have not gone into any of them. So one day evening, they were just saying, see, why don't you join? I mean, casually we were conversing. So I am also planning to go, why don't you come? Then I said, okay, since he is calling, I said, okay, I will just come. Then I went there. So he sat in the first row, I also sat. The program started. Then dum 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 dum, the music was just blasting my ear. So I said, Muncha Muncha. So I had to just come out in 5 minutes. Somehow people, anyway, so they have developed a certain taste for that. Ha ha, Muncha Munche Tyadi Aneka Shabda Samagama Krita. Okay? Aneka Shabda Samagama Krita. Ati Tumula Ravaha. Understand? Ati Tumula Ravaha. See, uproar is such that. Ati Tumula Ravaha. So basically he is saying, in one part they are shouting, in another part they are screaming, in one part they are dancing, in another part they are singing. So all of them are there in this samsara vriksha. Ati Tumula Ravaha. There I think you have to put a danda. Okay?
One big samasa.
Correct. See, Dhvanaha. That is what is explained. See, Nana Shabda Samagamati Tumula Dhvanaha. So that is described as Prani Sukha Dukkho Bhuta Harsha Shoka Jata Nritya Gita Vaditra Kshvelita Sphotita Hasita Rudita Haha Muncha Munche Tyadyaneka Shabda Samagamakrita Ati Tumula Ravaha. So up to this is one big samasa. Okay, you have to understand. So all these breaks have to be sort of removed. Okay, so there are 2-3 breaks in between given, which is not correct. Okay, Kritati Tumula. See, Tumula Ravaha. That is best. Then Vrikshascha. Pakshi Shabdati Tumula Dhvanir Bhavati. We know that. Okay. So in a vriksha, so what did he say? So this Andaja. Oh, they are designing. So who are Andajas here? Brahmadistambha Paryanta Pranina. Understand? This Andaja in the samsara vriksha. So in the Ashwatha vriksha, normally they are Andajas. So here, various Andas. So Andajas are Brahmadistambha Pranina. And what do? This kind of dhvana. So in a vriksha you will find, say Kalakala Rava you will find, even in IIT. So sometimes when you come in the evening around 5:36, so thousands of birds will make this noise. Thousands of them literally will be. So that is how it is. See, that is why he is saying vrikshascha pakshi shabdati tumuladhvanir bhavati. This is common. Okay. Then karmanilaihi karmabhihi eva anilaihi nunnaha. Nunnaha means iditaha, preritaha. So he is just knocked off. There is an impulse which is given. Okay. Karmanilaihi karmabhireva anilair nunnaha iditaha chanchalaha nitya prachalita svabhavaha. So here there is a continuous flow of wind, okay, in the form of a variety of karma, and nunnaha nitya prachalita svabhavaha. It is something which is continuously oscillating. Then finally he says ante avasane abhavatmakaha. If you look at the verse abhavatmakaha, up to that we have the first half ending. See, nana shabda samagamati tumuladhvanascha karma nilaihi nunnaschanchalayesha samsatimahi jonte hyabhavatmakaha. Then yeshaha, this kind of a vriksha, yeshaha vrikshaha pratyakshaha samsritimahijaha. Samsritimahijaha, samsara rupaha yam vrikshaha. Samyajnanamayasina. This is where the key lies. See, how to escape from this? Samyajnanamayasina tattvajnana rupa khadgena. Samyajnana means tattvajnana. Tattvajnana means atmajnana. So tattvajnanamayasina. Tattvam iti jnanam tattvajnanam. Tattvajnana rupa khadgena sukaraniya uchchedaha. Sukaraniya uchchedaha. The word su refers to sukhena. Sukhena karaniyaha kartum shakyaha. Karaniyaha means, here it should be understood as kartum shakyaha, kartum yogyaha. Kartum shakyaha uchchedaha nashaha yasya saha tathoktaha bhavati. So the samsara vriksha can be severed through this tattva jnana. Yeshaha. Now, if you go to the verse, Samyajnanamayasina sukarani yochchedaha Yetasya tat moolam brahma. He says for the samsara vriksha, moolam brahma. For that he is giving an introduction. So he says, Yetasya samsara vrikshasya shukram. So here he brings in the words that have been employed in the mantra. Understand? Tadeva shukram tad brahma tadeva amrita muchyate. Tadeva shukram tad brahma. See, so here this tat, so what is to be understood by the word tat? Brahma. Okay. So shukram means shubhram, shuddham, jyotishmat, that which is glowing. Tadeva shukram tad brahma. So for that he is saying, Yetasya samsara vrikshasya shukram amritam sat satyam brahmaiva moolam. He further says, Nahi nirmoolah kvapi vrikshosti. Can you ever think of a vriksha without moola? No. So this is something which is a very important statement that he is making. So maybe we should elaborate this in the next class, keeping the content in the later part of this sixth valli. The sixth valli is a very important valli where you find plenty of discussions even brought in by Acharya. So So Acharya also describes at great length the samsara vriksha, because here there are some interesting things which are being presented, okay, both in the mantra as well as in the commentary. So here he is hinting that, see, nahi nirmoola kvapi vrikshosti ataha samsara vrikshasya kinchin moolam adrishtamapi avashyam abhyupagantavyam. Okay, so moolam avashyam abhyupagantavyam. Okay, so we'll stop here and continue in the next class. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahabhirjam Karavavahi Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Viddishavahi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve Visikhinas Santu Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om